I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This time out, a new version of a popular audio interface from Universal Audio. Let's get started. Today we're introducing the Apollo Twin MkII, the latest version of the Apollo Twin, and it brings some great enhancements over the original Apollo Twin. Of course, there are a lot of similarities to the original Apollo Twin. We have two inputs, and those can be either microphone or line level inputs. We have 4 line level outputs. 2 of those are dedicated to monitor out. The other 2 can either be assigned as an alternate set of monitors, or you can use those for an additional 2 line outputs. We also have a headphone output, and we have an 8-channel optical input if you need more microphone preamps. But there are some significant differences, some real enhancements when we move to the Apollo Twin MkII compared to the original Apollo Twin. Let's check out some of those differences. One of the great features of all the Apollo audio interfaces is they feature built-in DSP chips. Now those DSP chips allow you to run Universal Audio's UAD format plugins within your DAW without using any processing power from the computer. All of that processing is handled inside the Apollo interface, which gives you a lot of additional power for running plugins, and it also allows for latency-free monitoring when you're tracking with plugins. The original Apollo Twin was an awesome audio interface. I've been using this one for a long time and I'm really happy with its performance, but there are significant improvements when you move to the Apollo Twin MkII. First of all, the specs in the new Apollo Twin MkII have been updated, so they now match the capabilities that are in the Apollo 8, the Apollo 8P, and the Apollo 16. This gives us enhanced audio quality, better resolution particularly on the D to A converters, as well as improvements in other areas of the audio performance. But one big surprise with the Apollo Twin MkII where DSP is concerned is the original Apollo Twin was available with 1 DSP chip, the Apollo Twin Solo, or 2 DSP chips, the Apollo Twin Duo. There also are Apollo Twin MkII Solo and Duo versions, but the big surprise is on the bottom of this one. We now have an Apollo Twin MkII Quad. This gives us 4 processing chips, a lot of power for running plugins on board this audio interface. The control capabilities with the Apollo Twin MkII have also been enhanced. On the original Apollo Twin, we could control monitors, but from the interface itself, all we could really control was the monitor level. We could also mute the monitors by pressing down on the button, release that, and our monitors become active again, and by hitting the monitor switch again, we can switch to controlling the headphones. But that's really all the control room monitoring capability we had built into the Apollo Twin. For any additional control room functionality, you had to go to the software console, which works fine. So you can see here in the software, if we have 2 sets of monitors assigned, we have our main output or our alternate monitor output. We can mute the monitors, we can set them to mono playback. We can also set the trim level for our alternate set of speakers, our dim amount. We can dim the monitors if you're taking a phone call while the music is playing, for example, and so on. With the Apollo Twin MkII, all of that control room functionality is now accessible here on the front panel of the interface itself. This allows you to have this on your desktop and use it for monitor control as well as your recording interface. So in the case of the Apollo Twin MkII, when we press the preamp button, we're looking at controls and functions for our microphone preamps or our line level inputs. And those functions are here in the screen, accessible by this row of switches. But now when we press the monitor switch here on the front panel of the Apollo Twin MkII to switch over to controlling our monitors, we also have full control room control functionality right here. So the switches across the bottom now access a second row of functions that control our monitors. Let's take a look. First up, we have a big difference. The Apollo Twin MkII has a built-in Talkback Mic. Now we can access that inside the console software, right here. So we can engage Talkback, that automatically dims our speakers, and we also have level control over the Talkback monitor. But we can also access the Talkback Mic from the front panel of the Apollo Twin MkII. Simply press the talk button, we automatically dim the monitors, and we've engaged the Talkback microphone. We can also dim the monitors from the front panel by hitting the second switch. We can select our alt monitors by pressing the third switch. The fourth switch doesn't function here. Our fifth switch is our mono switch. And the last switch is muting. This control room functionality also extends if you're using multiple Apollo audio interfaces. The way I have my system set up right now is I have the Apollo Twin MkII connected to one of the Thunderbolt ports on the back of my Apollo 8. The Apollo 8 is then connected to my MacBook Pro, and all of the inputs and outputs are showing up here in my console software. The way I have this set up, if I'm using the Apollo 8 to feed my monitors, I can use the Apollo Twin MkII to access all the control room functions inside the Apollo 8. Check this out. So we still have the Talkback Mic in the Apollo Twin MkII, and again that dims the speakers. If we press the dim switch, we're now dimming the speaker output or the monitor output from our Apollo 8. If we hit the alt switch, you can see the light shifts here on the front panel of the Apollo 8, and we've selected the alt output on the back of the Apollo 8. We can also mono the output, and we can mute the output. This allows us to have the Apollo 8 in a rack driving our monitors and have the Apollo Twin MkII on top of our desktop, have it serve not only as additional inputs and outputs and DSP processing power, but also as our monitor controller. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Apollo Twin MkII. I'm really excited about this interface. With the quad version, you get more DSP processing power. We have all that control room functionality. We have the upgraded specs, the way that it integrates with a larger Apollo system. Really a cool audio interface. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute. I'm Mitch Gallagher.